Dear Thally and your YouTube psychic. Card of the day. Readings. Unboxings. Your daily source for things arcane.
Hey, this is Tyr here, and we are going through our final video in our Jack the Ripper series. This one is Jill the Ripper. A lot of people dismiss the idea of Jack being a woman. All I gotta say is, hello girl, there are a lot of women serial killers in history, so let's look into that. So, if serial killers, murder, all that stuff bothers you, I would suggest skipping this video. If not, stay tuned and let's explore the minds of a female serial killer. Now, this is Amelia Dyer. She was briefly suspected as Jill the Ripper, or Jack the Ripper in this case. However, she was dismissed because her MO, or her victims, tended to be children. Yes, children. So, Dyer is only convicted of one murder, but her name is attached to the murder of hundreds of infants and small children. She worked for 20 years at the quote-unquote baby farm, according to the New York Daily News. It is suspected that she killed over 400 infants in England, which would make her among history's most prolific serial killers. Her crimes were committed in the span of 1880 to 1896. She was tried for murder in 1896, convicted, and hanged for her crimes. Now, the child that she is convicted of murdering is the child of a barmaid who is suspected of being a prostitute. And the way it worked, or the quote-unquote baby farming, as it was put, she would put an ad in the paper saying that she will take your unwanted children. You just give her a little, as much money as you can and some clothes. And at first, she would neglect them. They would starve to death eventually. However, as she got older, she got more lazy and started to tie ropes around their necks and watch as they died. She was quoted as saying that she really enjoyed watching the life slip out of their eyes. But yes, she is suspected of killing over 400 children, and that's a lot. After a while that you see that she's supposed to be taking care of 400 children, how are you giving her more? Well, anyway, she was around during the time of Jack the Ripper. But again, her victim of choice was infants and small children. Now, unless you've spent your entire life living in a sheltered community, you know who Eileen Vornos is. Probably due to the movie starring Scarlett Johansson as Eileen Vornos. But if you don't know who she is, she was born in 1956, and Vornos killed 7 men in Florida between 1989 and 1990. She shot each of the 7 at point-blank range, according to the New York Daily News. She was captured after a minor traffic accident in one of her victims' cars. She told the police that she'd murdered the men in self-defense because they raped her while she worked as a prostitute. However, she was sentenced to death for 6 of the murders and was executed by lethal injection on October 9th, 2002. And she is one of those special cases. Most of the time I say we gay people are, nonviolent. She was apparently a lesbian and had a girlfriend. However, she continued to work as a prostitute for men. So I don't know. I'm not sure if she used the quote-unquote prostitution as a way to rob and murder the men, but, it's to each their own, and hers got her in prison, death row, and eventually executed by lethal injection. So, if you ask me, yes, women are capable of killing people. They are also capable of being serial killers. Take Amelia there. She murdered about 400 children, babies, the ones that women are supposed to quote unquote have, the mothering instinct. In some cases, it skips a generation. And this is Juana Barasa. Now, she was a Mexican professional wrestler. She was born in 1957 and was known as the Old Lady Killer. She murdered between 42 and 48 elderly women and was later sentenced to 759 years in prison. She would beat or strangle her victims and steal their possessions to fence them at a later date. She was caught in 2006 and found guilty of 16 counts of murder and aggravated burglary in 2008, according to the New York Daily News. She is currently still alive and, thankfully, still in prison. Now on to one of the only female suspects in the Jack the Ripper murders. This is Mary Piercy. She was an Englishwoman who was convicted of murdering her lover's wife, Mrs. Phoebe Hoag, and child, Tiggy, on 24 October 1890, and was hanged for the crime on 23 December of the same year. The crime is sometimes mentioned in connection with Jack the Ripper, and Piercy has been posited as a Ripper candidate. Mary Piercy, like many other famous Victorian-era murderers, has been suggested as a suspect in the Jack the Ripper slayings. She was apparently the only female suspect mentioned at the time. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, creator of Sherlock Holmes, speculated at the time that the Ripper might have been female, as a woman could have pretended to be a midwife and be seen in public in bloody clothing without arousing suspicion or notice. The theory was expanded upon in 1939 by William Stewart in his book Jack the Ripper, A New Theory, which specifically named Piercy in connection with the crimes. All evidence given is circumstantial, and there is no physical evidence or eyewitness reports linking Piercy to the Ripper crimes. F. Tennyson Jesse, the British criminal historian, explained the theory in her study of Piercy's case. Quote, "It was no wonder that simultaneously with the discovery of the crime, legends should have sprung up around her figure. The rumor even arose that the notorious Jack the Ripper had been at work in the locality, and though this was quickly disproved, yet the violence and horror associated with the crime was such as to make it understandable how the rumors arose in the first place. Even in the earliest paragraphs which announced the discovery of the crime, several false statements were suggested. In May 2006, DNA testing of saliva on stamps affixed to letters allegedly sent by Jack the Ripper to London newspapers and thought by some modern writers to be genuine appeared to come from a woman. This led to extensive discussion of Piercy and her crime in the global press. I absolutely believe that it could be a woman because, a midwife back then wore a leather apron, was covered in blood from head to toe. So it's quite possible. So what we will do on Friday is we will do a reading regarding the suspects and or the victims to see if they were or were not actual victims of Jack the Ripper. And once we're done with that, we'll move on to the Ripper suspects. Some of them I plan on eliminating automatically, like Sir William Gull and the gay guy. I think it's Montague, because he just committed suicide because he lost his job because they found out he was gay. So we're not going to continue to torture them. So thank you for watching and have a great day.
Thanks for watching today's video. Don't forget to subscribe to my content and like this video. Want more? Feel free to order your own personal reading at www.tirthalion.com. That's TIRTHALION.com. Don't forget to click the bell icon so that you're notified every time I upload a video.